Elon Musk is a moron. I am tired of this idea that he and his 20-year-old douchebags are these super geniuses who understand government like none of us possibly could. These are stupid people who are unqualified and uninformed about how to run a government they don't care about. And we continue to see that play out in the most dangerous ways. And the most recent example of that came with a tweet from Elon Musk in which he admitted how dumb he is and got called out for it by AOC. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video. And if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we get into Elon's most recent tweet about the FAA and the disastrous decisions he has made, this is just a stupid tweet. I want to check out something that AOC just had to say about how bad Elon is at doing this job.
It has all of our support. For folks following at home, Democrats supported it, Republicans supported it. So why isn't this moving? It's not because there's no substance for it. All 4 witnesses testifying today are in support of it. Republicans are in support, Democrats are in support. So what happened? Well, on December 17th at 4:15 in the morning, Elon Musk began firing off a barrage of social media posts opposing pharmacy benefit manager reform, PBM reform. And all of a sudden, this bill that had almost unanimous support fell apart in a matter of hours. And the vote was postponed on that day. After he tweets, it gets canceled. Elon Musk tweets, we have nearly 435 members of Congress all on board of it. He sends one tweet and all of a sudden, everyone backs off. And it kills drug pricing reform that saves people money on their insulin, on their asthma inhalers, on everything that they need. And then to kick it off, 5 days after he kills pharmacy benefit manager reform, we get this tweet from Elon Musk. What is a pharmacy benefit manager? This was at 1:02 a.m. on December 31st of 2024, 5 days or so, a couple days after he kills the bill. So the problem here is not a substance issue. It's not a process issue. It's an oligarchy issue. It's a power issue. And this room is where the power of the people of the United States reside. Whether you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, everyone here was elected to be accountable to the people of the United States, not to be governed by tweet, but to be governed by their duly elected representation. And so we can get this done because there are more of us than there are of him. So I would love a commitment from our Republican counterparts who we agree with on this issue to just put it on the floor and let us vote for it where there is bipartisan agreement and we can actually get a result of for the American people by booting this guy out from political influence. And with that, I yield back.
Once again, these are not smart people. They do not know what they're talking about. Elon is discovering what government is as he goes through it with his meat axe. These are not qualified, skilled auditors. Do you know who is or who was? Those inspectors general who they fired on day one. Those are the people who could have gone through a couple of audits. Speaking of which, USAID, yeah, passed its audit. Pentagon? Where Elon gets all his money? No, of course it didn't. But they're not looking at that. No. We're not touching any of Elon's bucks. Couldn't do that. But as I said, Elon is not smart. He does not know what he's doing, and he is realizing how much he screwed up and just admitting it in this tweet right here. Elon wrote on Twitter, "There is a shortage of top-notch air traffic controllers. If you have retired but are open to returning to work, please consider doing so. Okay, there are a million things I want to say. The first is, air traffic controllers are required to retire at a certain age because the job is so difficult. Clearly, Elon doesn't know that. Second thing, did you maybe consider no one wants to work for you because you continue to attack them? Are you serious, Elon? Like, really? You spent the past month and a half screaming DEI, DEI, attacking the people who do these very difficult jobs, who are working 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, and you're wondering why there's a shortage? Would you like a mirror to figure out why? You moron. These people are not smart. Let's dispense with that idea. I'm tired of hearing super genius Elon. This is a guy who lucked out on his businesses built on subsidies that he was able to buy because he is a rich Nepo baby. That's what Elon Musk is. These people are not smart. They're putting us in harm's way. And Rachel Maddow will talk more about that right here.
We will make mistakes. We won't be perfect. But when we make a mistake, we'll fix it very quickly. So, for example, with USAID, one of the things we accidentally canceled very briefly was Ebola, Ebola prevention. I think we all want Ebola prevention. So we restored the Ebola prevention immediately, and there was no interruption.
That's not true. Today, Donald Trump's top campaign donor claimed during a weird, filmed for TV cabinet meeting that although he had accidentally, in his role as Donald Trump's top campaign donor, ended all Ebola prevention efforts of the U.S. government, after they realized that's what had happened, it was restarted. It was just a very brief interruption, and it all or not even an interruption. It was very briefly stopped, but then restarted without interruption. People who actually work on these matters for the U.S. government and in this field say none of this is true. Public health experts, including current and former USAID officials, say that the Ebola prevention efforts were hobbled, that they've not been restarted. In 2014, you might remember there was an outbreak of Ebola in West Africa. Doctors from the United States went to countries like Guinea to go track cases and treat patients. A doctor named Craig Spencer was one of those doctors who responded to that outbreak, and he became the first person in New York City to test positive himself for Ebola in October 2014, after he was abroad treating Ebola patients in Guinea with Doctors Without Borders. Ebola has a really high mortality rate. It kills more than half the people it infects. In Dr. Spencer's case, he had 19 days in the hospital, but he survived. Today, he wrote this in response to Elon Musk's remarks about Ebola prevention being accidentally stopped, but then started back up again with no interruption. He said, quote, on January 29th this year, Uganda reported an Ebola outbreak. Normally, the U.S. would have quickly sent one of our Ebola experts to help the response. But this time we didn't, because we couldn't, because this administration wouldn't let them go right when this outbreak was declared. Normally, the U.S. would have helped set up border screening and other measures on the ground, but this time we didn't. Normally, we would have spoken with the WHO about helping end the outbreak, but this time we didn't, because CDC staff weren't even allowed to talk to them. Joining us now is Dr. Craig Spencer. He's Associate Professor of Health Services Policy and Practice at Brown University School of Public Health. He's also the New York City emergency room doctor who survived Ebola after treating Ebola patients in Guinea with Doctors Without Borders nearly about a decade ago now. Dr. Spencer, I really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you.
Good to see you again.
So it's always good to see you because you had Ebola. And so anytime that I see you, I feel like I have hope that these sorts of things can be survived, these horrific diseases. I have to ask what your reaction was to seeing Elon Musk today bring up Ebola unprompted, laugh about it, and then suggest that while he had accidentally cut off all U.S. government efforts to combat it, everything was fine now because it had all been restarted without interruption.
Well, Rachel, I was remarkably confused because for the past month, I have been talking to people who normally would have responded to this Ebola outbreak in Uganda, the Marburg outbreak in Tanzania, and guess what? They didn't. For the last decade, I have followed every single outbreak of viral hemorrhagic fevers like Ebola. I know everyone that is doing this. I know where they're responding. I know the people in Uganda at the Ministry of Health. I've heard from people who normally would be supported by our country, by our government, to set up border screening, to do the contact tracing on the ground. They're not getting paid. Countries are asking them to work for free because USAID normally would have supported them. Here in this country alone, we normally would have sent people almost immediately once these outbreaks are declared. Guess what? We didn't do this. And the result is right now, people around the world are looking to the United States saying, what are your commitments? What is true about your support? What Elon Musk said today was just categorically untrue. We did not get rid of Ebola prevention and then put it back in place. Elon Musk and Doge were responsible for actively and actually stripping off the letters of the USAID, the agency, from its headquarters in Washington, D.C. On the first day of this administration, Donald Trump signed an executive order to pull the United States out of the World Health Organization. And just very recently, hundreds of CDC workers, those frontline doctors and epidemiologists who would be responding to outbreaks like Ebola abroad, Ebola in the United States, and other infectious threats that you've just highlighted, 750 of those people were let go. Regardless of what Elon Musk and others say, we have set ourselves up to be very sorry for an infectious threat, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year. But I've been saying over and over again, we will regret this.
So we're doing disease again? That's what the Make America Healthy Again crowd is all about. Bringing back disease, bringing back polio, measles death, chicken pox. And it's not just dumb. Like, of course it's dumb. It's also illegal. They are breaking the law. Listen to Elizabeth Warren right here.
Another one. What is your view on that email that went out?
Look, what Elon Musk is doing, in my view, is plainly illegal. He's trying to take the legs out from under, with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Congress passes the laws. We have an agency. The agency has obligations, legal obligations that it has to meet. Under the Constitution, it is the responsibility of the administration to administer those laws. And if they fail to do that or do it inappropriately, it is the responsibility of the courts to make them do it.
I'm going to say it one more time because it is just so important to me. If you'll watch the show consistently, you know the lie I hate the most is that Donald Trump won some overwhelming majority of the popular vote, which he didn't. He didn't even win the majority. That Donald Trump had some sweeping victory. He did not. That's a lie I hate. The other lie I hate the most is that Elon's a genius. He's not, clearly. And we're going to call that out every single day on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.